So a couple of thoughts. I'd like to request from our staff if we can look at a concept that we had spoken about many times, almost every time we address this issue. Number one, can we create some kind of classification so we can have, just like you have the health promoters, but then have bilingual promoters of some kind, as you were talking in rec, et cetera. I know that we can incorporate that into either our summer youth workforce employment programs, or just have a cadre of people that could be trained in different subject areas that can then go out and provide some support. I mean, in a county where we have so many Spanish-speaking people, it's bizarre that we're constantly lamenting the fact that we need more bilingual staff. So I'm just interested in seeing how we can be innovative and providing some of that. I also would like to have some kind of status on our Welcome Back Center. I mean, I opened talking about the issue of all the people that are fleeing Venezuela who are highly educated people who right now, and I just said, I met this guy who was trying to get a microloan. He's a director of a dental practice. He's a dentist. I am sure that we probably have a lot of people that just arrived with degrees. And so what are we doing with the Welcome Back Center in helping these folks fill a major void? I always say, I'm sorry if I sound very impatient, but this is all such deja vu Groundhog Day conversation, and I'm just getting really tired of it. So if we can get an update on that, I'd like to know what we're doing. It is not enough anymore to say and lament that we don't have enough bilingual therapists, we don't have enough bilingual staff, we don't have enough bilingual anything. And by the way, we need to compensate these people appropriately. I have heard time and time again of bilingual therapists who apply and they're like, hey, I'm making so much more money in Fairfax County. And so we need to also look at that and appropriately compensate folks because we have such a need. The other thing I just wanted to ask is just this issue of the upsurge the MCPS is seeing and how that is being addressed vis-a-vis the referrals to all these other programs that we've put in place, like the Wellness Center, Linkages to Learning, or all of that. Are those, are referrals going out in that direction? Are you working very closely with these other partners to make sure that they're able to receive those services that we are funding?
Yeah, two things. Number one, we are seeing an increase in the number of referrals, especially for young people that we're referring to the crisis center. And so the connection that we need to make is, are the students that are being referred, are they the same students, or are we missing a population that is reluctant to either come to staff because they've got concerns or for some reason? So that is something that we can look into, and we would get back to you.
Okay, that would be awesome. I know that the Children Fleeing Violence Crisis Work Group was created as a result of the many council sessions in 2014, and it's been such a good resource. So I just want to make sure that with this uptick that we're doing that. And lastly, I'm just going to make some comments here on the record. I know that there has been some interest by some organizations and groups, very well-meaning, for Montgomery County to engage in legislation, basically the Trust Act. And I just have to say that it's going to be really important for those of you who are working with these communities to be able to articulate, and some of you have done that today, how scary that is for the very vulnerable people that we have in our communities. It is well-meaning, but Montgomery County has put in place policies where we're very, very careful about how our police department, what they do, how they engage, but really going down the road of legislation, all that will do is put our own most vulnerable people in harm's way. It will put the spotlight on them. And what I hear time and time again is that people just want to send their kids to school, go to work, and they don't want to be in the crosshairs of this extraordinarily toxic environment. So I urge you, if for some reason somebody introduces that legislation, and it won't be me, that you are able to articulate those fears, because they will not be able to do so. But it is, I think, our responsibility to make sure that we constantly work to enhance what we have in place and perhaps amend things in policies But to really sit there and put ourselves in the middle of this horrible, toxic, conversation and look the other way to what's going to happen to our communities, in my opinion, is very irresponsible. So I just wanted to bring that up and just put it on the record out there because it's been discussed time and time again. And I think that perhaps for some people don't quite understand the significance and the implications of what this will do to all of those communities who are already not even accessing some of these basic services for fear. Okay, and so we're very close to the epicenter of, the madness right there at the White House. We will be definitely putting folks in harm's way. Dr. Bryce?
Yes, Madam President. The school system operates under a Supreme Court decision, Plyler versus Doe, that requires us not to take into consideration the immigration status of students. So that legislation would not impact MCPS's desire and legal obligation to make sure that we support all students and we enroll all students regardless of immigration status.
That's right, but what it will do is that it will create widespread fear. I attended there was a forum at a church in Gaithersburg when we started seeing an uptick on deportation rates, and it was a Sunday, and the mass was letting out, and there were thousands of people coming out. And then I went to the forum with Chief Major and a panel, and there were only about 30 people. And somebody lamented and said, how come the folks that were in the mass are not here? And finally, somebody got up and said, because they're scared, because they don't want to be seen. They don't want anybody to know their faces and their names. They were not sending their children to school because of the uptick in deportation rates. And so my concern is that this is what will happen inadvertently to many of our people in our communities, and the school system will see, all right, all of these children not being kept home because of the very real concern. So that's, those are just unintended consequences of many of the things that we're dealing with, but I so much appreciate everything that all of you are doing to do everything possible to protect and also to enhance the quality of life of all of us in the county. Thank you.